Welcome back, my friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer, so now let's talk silver. It is extremely safe to say that many experts are extremely bullish for silver. Check out some of these recent headlines. The silver rally may be far from over despite its recent gains. Silver price forecast. Silver markets continue to shoot straight up in the air. 7 ways to play silver before prices go parabolic. Silver price forecast. It shoots higher but fails to keep up some of its gains. Silver price analysis. Silver eases from 1-year peak. Bullish bias remains intact. And all of this is rightfully so. This is the 1-month chart for silver. It's up to $25.41. If you look at the 3-month chart, silver has had a major comeback. We saw it down to $20. We were talking about possibly $18, $19, but it took off from there, and now it's looking like $30 is more realistic than $20. And if you're someone who has seen the markets or know what a psychological level means, or what a resistance level means, and what happens if silver breaks through that psychological level or that resistance level, we would see things very, very explosive. Now, the psychological level we're talking about is $25, since silver has tried to break past that many times in the past, and if it does, it would bring a lot of hype. A lot of people would jump on the train, probably go into overbought territory for a little bit. Then it would correct back down. People would get a little antsy, thinking maybe the rally's over, but then it would build stability at that level. Regardless of that more complex analysis, let's jump into some of these articles and see what these people have to say. Remember, make sure you subscribe. We're on the road to 100,000 subscribers. Make sure you like the video if you like this video. If you want to purchase some silver, I will link in the description the best place to do so. And now let's talk about this. The silver rally may be far from over despite its recent gains. Silver is likely to continue to outperform gold in the coming months. That's something very important to take note of. And even more important is the why. Why silver is much more likely to outperform gold. Silver's outperformance. Over the last 6 weeks, silver futures have exploded out of the gate, rallying to close $6 or around 20% in that short period, even with yesterday's candle forming as a hangman at the highest price point silver has seen in an entire year, and getting there in parabolic fashion. A price crash may not be imminent, at least technically, according to my new study. So this is this bullish impulse cycle. Not to brag, but my last attempt at forecasting silver prices were relatively accurate. He called the top at $24.50 when the price was sitting at $18. It was based on the assumption that silver had entered a bullish impulse cycle at the beginning of February 2022. The method on both predictions was centered around my slightly unorthodox use of wave theory and, of course, my fanatic use of the Fibonacci, which I continued using to produce this next forecast. So remember, he is pretty accurate. It was clear that it had completed a bearish 5 count from spring to September 2022. In that bearish impulse, Count Silver gave up over $10 in total value, equaling a whopping 36.72% loss in 123 days. Believing that silver was oversold, and after hitting a bottom at $17.40, I decided to keep a close eye on the precious metal. After hitting that low, however, silver would retest support there 2 more times, forming a quadruple bottom. And that is pretty important to take note of. He talks about oversold territory, right? When silver's going down, 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 you got to remember there's going to be a bottom. A lot of people don't understand what a bottom is. They think it's just going to go down to $5 and they lost all of their money. So they usually buy high and sell low, when it should be take advantage of those bottoms and buy more of it, not panic and freak out. Factors affecting silver's relative performance to gold. It was around this time that gold hit its own triple bottom, and after the last test of its own support at $1,670 began showing real strength. Since November 2022 has risen steadily, currently trading up over 24% since the November lows. However, silver has tailed gold either up or down for most of the modern history while leading the way in its relative volatility. This simply means that silver will tend to outperform on the way up compared to gold, and on the way down, it will sell off harder. That is the riskier part of silver. That's why people call it, well, I call it at least, gold on steroids. Steroids has positive benefits and a lot of negative benefits, or circumstances at least. It's a more exaggerated version of gold. If gold's going to rise 10%, silver's going to rise 15%. But also, for the worse, if gold's going to drop 10%, silver's going to drop 15%. So there's more risk, but also more reward. I can never say risk in a safe haven asset, so at the end of the day, it only looks like it's more reward, especially given that silver's extremely undervalued, where gold, you can't say so much is undervalued compared to silver. So let's look into some let's look into something more. I don't like looking at just all these percentages. I like getting into the meat and potatoes. So I'm trying to skim through here. So this is actually a good point. So in February 2022, Russia invaded Ukraine and started a conflict that still continues to this day. However, it has much less of an effect it had on the markets at the time. In times of war, gold is preferred unit of exchange, besting silver due to its relative value to its weight and size compared to silver. And in times of turmoil, sometimes people are forced to leave their homes with only the items they can carry. $100,000 worth of gold would be a lot more manageable than $100,000 worth of silver. It's a very good point, and that's also why I do I recommend people do diversify into gold beyond just that. But gold is much more convenient. You can fit $100,000 worth of gold in basically two hands. $100,000 worth of silver is a lot of space, storage space, right? It's going to be something that especially if you're a heavy investor, throwing thousands upon thousands upon thousands, let's say tens of thousands, then you're definitely going to want to be investing in some gold as well, maybe 100,000 plus. Then you're definitely going to want to diversify just because that alone. Back to present day, and the same factors that gave gold a leg up on silver are fading. The Ukrainian conflict still rages on, but it's not at the forefront of media coverage in places far from the actual skirmish, which, example, America. The Fed has given signals that the next FOMC meeting may bring about another small rate hike, but that there would almost certainly be a pause following it. Yesterday's CPI report for March revealed yet another decline in headline inflation, strengthening the chance of a pause by the Federal Reserve. So now let's look at his forecast. For these reasons, and remember, this forecast, he's pretty accurate. For these reasons, silver's likely to continue to outperform gold in the coming months, and I'd say the coming years, honestly. But he's just talking more about the day-to-day, right? Back to my current wave count that correctly predicted silver's top at around $24.50 by a means of a 1.618 extension or percent extension of wave 1, which is one of the most common ratios in impulse cycles. Using the same blueprint, wave 5, which we are currently in, will most likely be a 1-to-1 extension of wave 3, which means silver is likely to continue higher at least until $26.79. The recent breakthrough at the 78% extension of wave 3 yesterday backs up this assumption. So he's saying that we'll see silver at least go up to $26.79. Now let's check out this next article titled Silver Price Forecast, Silver Markets Continue to Shoot Straight Up in the Air. So, this is the technical analysis. Silver markets have shot straight up in the air during the trading session on Thursday as we continue to see a lot of money flow into precious metals in a bid to protect wealth. Quite frankly, the US dollar is getting eviscerated during the session. Also helps, and therefore I think a lot of people will be piling into not only gold but silver as it's considered to be the second fiddle. Now, I agree that a lot of people probably find gold first and then hear about this more affordable uh, metal that has a lot more potential and opportunity. And let me know in the comment section, did you hear about gold first and then you found silver, or was it always just silver? For me, luckily, I found the silver stacking community. There is not really a gold stacking community. There might be, but the silver community is much bigger, so I pretty much right away found silver. So he says, keep in mind, though, that the silver market is highly sensitive to industrial demand, so that is most certainly something that can have a significant influence. And with this, I think we've got a situation where the market will continue to see a lot of noise, but a pullback is necessary to get involved. I think this is a very, very, very good take for several reasons. Wow. This guy definitely knows what he's talking about, because not only did he incorporate the micro, which is the dollar, and even incorporating the safe haven asset or aspect, but then he also goes into industrial demand, which is more of the macro, which also will have a significant influence. And then he even mentions we need to have a pullback, because you never want the price to just go up, 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 because then it will crash, 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 crash. So he's bringing all of the points to the table, and I really like that outtake. What a great way to put it. So keep in mind also that the $26 level has been major resistance previously. Right now he's also bringing up the psychological level. And if you don't understand what a psychological level is, just looking at it can make you feel some type of way. Just like at the store, instead of pricing something $20, they're gonna price it $19.99, because just seeing the number 19 makes it look much cheaper than seeing 20, even though there's a penny difference, right? So he's talking about this would push a huge buying frenzy in motion if that $26 level broke through. However, we have gotten there a bit too quick, mentioning that there needs to be a small correction. A correction is actually correct. You got to build price stability. You don't want it to just go straight up, because then there's no price stability. So then when it does correct, it goes down to where it started from. So I think at this point in time, you've got a scenario where you are probably going to see a lot of noise more than anything else, but definitely quite a bit of upward momentum. Look at pullbacks as a potential buying opportunity, right? Then when it pulls back, which it's supposed to do, just grab some more. Even though industrial demand may slump, this simple fact, which I don't think is going to happen, but anyways, the simple fact that the US dollar is losing strength will probably continue to push this much higher, right? So even if industrial demand doesn't do anything, you still have opportunity, and you still have reason for silver to rise regardless. It's so insane how perfect silver is. And like Andy Sheckman said on our last show a couple days ago, which I recommend you watch, he says on paper nothing makes as much sense as silver. Nothing does. Not even close. So it goes on to say that this $25 level underneath should be significant support, both from a structural standpoint and of course psychological as well. He says, I have no interest in shorting silver despite the fact that it's so clearly overbought. Ultimately, I think this is a scenario where you need to look at this through the prism of trying to find value and simply taking advantage of it. If we truly are heading into some type of financial crisis, it's worth noting that silver almost hit $50 the last time we had one. And there's not a lot to suggest that he cannot do it again. But again, you don't necessarily want to chase the trade all the way up at this level. Very good points as well, mentioning that, last time we were in a situation like this, silver was $50. I mean, 2008 to 2011, silver hit $50 in 2011. But look at that 3-year span from 2008 to 2011, a lot of similarities. Recession/depression, which was 2008, which you could incorporate to 2020. Then you had the $1 billion stimulus in 2008 to 2011, which now we had $1 trillion stimulus. And then you had recession/depression, $1 billion stimulus. You had the credit financial crisis. And then all of that led to $50 silver in 2011. Well, today we have $1 trillion stimulus, recession/depression, credit financial crisis, tenfold to that of banks collapsing. And we also have a war, and we had a global pandemic. So if that led silver to $50 last time, then what could it lead silver to today? Now there is, those are some of the similarities. Now there's a lot of differences as well. But the whole point is that just remember last time we saw something like this happen, silver hit all-time highs. Now talking about buying the dips, talking about the psychological support, and this is a whole different article. So see how a lot of people are mentioning it? This guy's talking about the psychological level. He mentions it somewhere up here. Yeah, the psychological as well. And then this next article mentions psychological significant support level for silver. And traders should keep in mind that the market has been on fire recently, and buying dips may present an opportunity to pick up value. And that's a good point. Although silver was slammed during the day, it quickly bounced back, indicating its resiliency. That's very, very important to note. That if it does start to go down, you cannot get all worried and start second guessing yourself, because remember, even if silver does drop down to $20, look how quick it bounced back from $20. So even if your investment's in the red, let's say you bought at $24, $25, you're down to 20, you're saying, wow, I might have made a huge mistake, my investment's way in the red. Remember, it's only in the red if you sell. You're only going to lose money if you sell at 20. If you just hold on, then it might be in the red now, but that doesn't mean you lost any money, only if you panic sell. So, yeah, there's a lot going on. I mean, I'm glad that we found some of these articles that brushed on the most important points. I'm sure a lot of this is kind of just repeating. I mean, this one does definitely go into more of the daily chart analysis, but I wanted to cover the meat and potatoes, and I think we pretty much did that in this video. Just remember that silver's definitely on a bull run. If you look at the 3-month chart, look at the 1-month chart. This is the 1 month. I mean, even in a month, right? And this 1-month chart started around $21, $22, and we're still up. Remember, it's the weekend, so this wasn't a dip. It's just still going up. So tomorrow, Monday, April 17th, it will probably pick up again. And the more the people are getting worried or second guessing the banking system, the more influence and effect that's going to have on silver. Like the article said, people are flooding into silver, which is only going to help the price. So we see a lot of big things coming. And when I say big things, I'm not talking about $30 silver, folks. I'm talking about triple-digit silver. Remember what one of these articles said, parabolic. 7 ways to play silver before prices go parabolic, right? They're saying that even at $25, $26, prices haven't gone parabolic yet. This article is indicating triple-digit silver, right? We're talking about gains that you couldn't even fathom. And a lot of people can't and doubt it. But when you look at the reality of the situation, the reality of it, a lot of people don't want to face reality that there could be a global reset, or that the US dollar could completely collapse, or there could be another currency that replaces or even coexists with the dollar, like Federal Chairman Jerome Powell said in a meeting. The Federal Reserve themselves said that one day he could see a currency replacing or coexisting with the dollar. And if that was going to happen, it would be now more than ever. So remember that and make sure you buy silver. And if you did want to buy some of that shiny stuff, highly recommend Miles Franklin. Go to info@milesfranklin.com. Let them know Silver Slayer sent you. They will help you out. They will hook you up. Andy Scheckman is the CEO, one of the most reputable dealers, still works with the U.S. Mint, which is very, very telling since the U.S. Mint banned everyone from publicly buying from them. They only hand chose a couple mints or a couple dealers, and Andy is one of them. And also, not only that, but they will work with you, right? There's no minimum. You can buy $100 worth. You can buy $50 million worth, like that billionaire from Texas did. This lady bought $50 million worth of silver, and Andy was able to fill that order in 2 days. Nobody else in the world, I'm being literal, not one other person in the world could fill a $50 million order, let alone 2 days. Nobody has access to silver like that except Andy, and that's because he has connections like nobody else. And that's why I'm honored to have a weekly show with him, which is called the Silver Stacking Podcast, but also to be able to offer you guys to work with him and build a business relationship with him as well. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this video up here. Make sure you like the video. Let me know what you think. This is Silver Slayer. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you guys soon. Peace.